do you think? Good. Hey, good morning, sunshine. Happy Friday. It's Friday, May 25th, 2018, and I'm headed into work for the day. I got my special super fancy little handle on the 4K camera. I'm not sure if you can see it in the mirror or not. Probably not. But I'm going to continue to shoot in 4K. I originally said I wasn't going to do it until I could render a full video. That has not happened yet. So I am going to have to work on that or get that to happen at some point. But I figured, you know what, why not? I have the 4K, might as well shoot it, try it out, see what I think. And if anything, I might end up changing this resolution down to 1080. And then I still get the benefits, the added benefits of having the image stabilization built into this camera versus the other camera. I get the wider angle, all that sort of stuff. So I am right now headed into work for the day. It's about 7:15, and the way traffic's been, I'm probably going to be a little bit late, unfortunately. We did not really edit at all last night. I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, and I just presumed that Luke wasn't feeling it either with his lack of wanting to do it. So yesterday, right as I got home, my dad called me. I talked to him on the ride home, but he called me back, and he told me that my Uncle Jim passed away. And my Uncle Jim is my dad's brother, one of my dad's brothers. So my dad at this point now has lost two of his brothers. He has I want to say two left. We don't really talk to one. And then the other one just turned 69 on Wednesday. So my dad I think my dad's the baby of the family. We lost one to some major cancer probably 20 years ago. The guy was probably 50 to 60. Not even. Yeah, probably even more than 20 years ago. Wow. So it was a tough kind of a tough day yesterday. I ended up just working on my storage locker stuff and all that. So I was just like, wasn't quite feeling the editing. Luke asked me just now about coming in to help him tomorrow at one of his contracted clients' sites. So he's doing like a circuit cutover, which could be simple or it could be a complete nightmare if none of the stuff works. So he's going from one provider to another provider, and that's gonna fuck a lot of shit up on the site. So you gotta think all the phones these days use VoIP, voice over IP, all that type of stuff. So everything's on the internet, and when you swing the internet and change the format of everything, makes life hell. So I'm probably going to be doing that with him in the morning, hoping I can make a little bit of money helping him out. I'm going to bring some of my tools from work and things like that, and that will help me help him, I guess you could say. So nothing super crazy or major, just some basic stuff that I use, Velcro and my label maker, knee pads, and maybe even some gloves and some scissors, and just all those basic type of things for mainly labeling cables and stuff like that. That's kind of a big deal. We're gonna go see Deadpool 2 tonight. I watched just the other day Deadpool 1 as a refresher, and forgot how funny that movie is. I love those like quick quips and stuff, and the witty banter. That all that stuff kind of reminds me of my Uncle Jim. He was like the classic old dude that would always like make like these like just sarcastic, funny, off the top of his head comments, and usually were inappropriate or whatever, but he was a good guy. He was a good guy. So my Uncle Jim lost his wife probably 10 to 15 years ago, I'm guessing. And it'll be nice if they can kind of see each other again. So he was a good dude. He really was. He was living in like a old folks home and didn't really have much of a life left. So I think most of his kids didn't even visit him anymore and shit like that. My dad just within the last like week or two, when they were in town last time, he went and visited him and stuff. So that was kind of nice. It was nice that we got to spend some time with him. But we're gonna kind of see how this weekend goes. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna change plans for the weekend. If the family's gonna be coming into town or something for services, or if they'll just do services next week. I don't know. So that's gonna be tough. You know what? One of the things that I've been actively working on with this storage locker cleanup has been going through and collecting all of my photos and pictures and stuff. So we got I ordered these like hard boxes, these hard cases that hold 4x6 photos in them. I think each box holds like 600. I got like 2 of them filled already. So I ordered, I think, like 2 or 3 more of these boxes. Well, you know, I've been going through old photos and all that stuff, and you know, 10 years time is practically a lifetime in photos. I mean, every decade we age substantially, and our lives change substantially, typically every 7 years. But so you go every 10 years, and you know, looking through these photos, it gets a little hard to swallow. You know, it's kind of shows our mortality and all that stuff. You know, like you know, I'm looking through photos, and at least in every handful there's at least one person in the photos that has passed away. And you know, you look through the photos, and there's at least one kid that one person that maybe used to be a baby, you know, 10 years ago, and now they're, you know, driving. Or somebody, you know, 10 years ago was good. Everything was great. Life was good. And, you know, 10 years later, now they got cancer. So, you know, I talk about it frequently, but you know, that's the main reason why I became a photographer, or why I like photography, is because we're pausing time. And you know, sometimes it's not good. You know, it might not be a good photo or a good time to pause, but when things are good, we can look back at when they weren't good and remember basically to live life to the fullest. And remember that, you know, our time here is pretty short. And, you know, are you here for a good time or what? Or are you just going to be, you know, a bump on a log? Is time going to pass you by, leave you in its dust? So that's kind of why I'm so adamant about these vlogs and about photos and archiving stuff and backing it up. And I still get prints. I still order prints. I still pay money and get physical prints ordered. So that way I can, you know, have something tangible. So I don't know, guys. This camera just shut off. I think it just shut off and after like a 5-minute clip. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. There's a looping feature, which I'm guessing maybe after every 5 minutes it cuts the clip and creates a new clip. I guess I'll have to look into that or double check that, because you guys know I shoot way longer than 5 minutes at a time, and it's not gonna quite work out for me. So I'm still not entirely sold on this fishbowl effect, guys. I don't know. I think it would be good for shooting large group stuff. maybe like weddings and things like that, and you know, close quarters. So inside of a car isn't too bad, but anything outside of that, not quite feeling it. Alright guys, so I guess I'll call it for now. I'm going to head into work. I'm just about to hit traffic. Gonna eat some breakfast and stuff, and try to get some work done today. So stay tuned for more. Alright guys, what's happening? We are back. I just went and stopped to get some gas, and drove probably the most amount of miles on a single tank this week. So it was about 483 miles, almost 500 miles in 1 week. And I just did the math. It took 11.4 gallons of gas. So that was, I already forgot it. I think it was 42.4 mpg when I did the math myself. So not too shabby. That was pretty amazing. So I think I drove extra miles this week because I went to the range last weekend, and I think that's what that was about. Gonna be doing a lot of driving this week though, so going to the lake, that's gonna be an additional 260 miles. Going to Luke's in the morning, that's gonna be probably an additional 40 miles or so. So I might have to fill up midweek this week for the first time ever. Guess it's not that big of a deal, especially when gas is so cheap. I just spent I don't know, maybe 35 bucks on gas, so it's not bad for a week. Oh boy. So what do we got? May 25th. I think we got about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is when we're leaving for Cali. Can't believe it. And I feel like I'm not ready. I don't really know what I'm doing or packing. Grant and I haven't gone on like a legit vacation, so I'm used to packing just like overnight bags and basic bitch shit like that. So I'm gonna be freaking out next week, going nuts. Really needed to spend this weekend getting ready for that and all that, but oh well. Really digging this handle that's built into this camera. I still need to figure out a couple more features. The max 5-minute clip thing, I'm not sure if that's because I'm shooting in 4K and that's like a file size limitation. That's what I'm guessing. I'm hoping that like there's an option that it'll just cut the clips and then keep recording versus, you know, killing the recording and then that's it. So I'm gonna have to look into that. And then I also have to look into the orientation. It's flipping all my video clips upside down in post. Which isn't that big of a deal, but it's still a pain in the ass if you just want to like open up the files quick and double check something, or you know, see what you're getting. Everything's upside down until you can render it or fix it in post. And the other thing is, I'm not sure about this 30 frames a second. Don't have a ton of experience with that, so I'm gonna have to see if it looks decent, if it looks nice, if it's relatively smooth and sexy. I don't know. But this car is nice. It's definitely paying for itself. I'm guessing I'm saving a minimum of $200 a week, or I'm sorry, a month in gas. And like probably the summer months when I drive more, drive to the lake and all that, it's got to be, you know, $300 to $400 a month in the summer months. I'm not even kidding. So yeah, almost to work, guys. Looks like I am gonna make it to work on time. That last tank of gas was gonna give me over 600 miles in terms of range on one tank of gas, and now this one is saying 626, and we're looking good. So yeah, stay tuned for more, guys. All right, guys, what is happening? Happy Friday. Just getting out of work for the day. And I think I sorted out another issue with the camera. I was looking through the user manual and found out that I have to turn on looping in order for it to continue recording longer than the the max file size. So I guess this camera has a 4 GB limitation, meaning that once you reach 4 gigs, it was stopping the recording completely. So there's like a loop feature that you can turn on that will allow it to automatically continue recording. I think it just cuts the video into 4 GB pieces, however many minutes that is based on the video quality setting. I'm not entirely sold on the 4K setting on this camera. I really do need to spend some time and render out one of the 4K videos and double check or see that it looks good. The quality, from what I could see or tell, did not really seem to be all that there. I don't know if that's an issue because of the 4K. I don't know if that's an issue because it's just a cheap small camera or what. But I already noticed too that with just this angle that I'm shooting at, because the windows are getting picked up so much, the camera is exposing more for the windows. So I'm like almost completely dark compared to, or like silhouette. So maybe what I'll do right now is I will switch the settings to bump up the exposure compensation. So it's going to blow out the windows, but then I should be good. So let me try that out really. Alright guys, so this video clip here, we're just trying out different settings and stuff. So in the on-camera settings, I just changed the exposure compensation to +1. So that should mean, it should make the video one stop brighter. So hopefully you guys can actually see me in the video here. I think that looks pretty good. Just for kicks, I'm going to change it to +2. And, well actually, hold on. What I'll do is I'll stop this video clip. It's got a screen, so I'll just watch this video and see if it looks better than the previous one. So let's do that. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave it at +1 for right now. I did notice in the clip before I did the +1 that you can see the camera trying to lock exposure. So at some points it's okay, and other points I'm dark, and it's kind of like going in and out trying to either expose for the windows or expose for me. So I'm going to leave it at +1, and I'll have to review these clips later. Might have to either tone it down a little bit, so go to like 0.3 or 0.7 or something. But I guess it's more tough because I'm so heavily backlit compared to you know, me versus the windows, or the windows are way brighter. With my other camera, it was more focused or more zoomed in, I guess you could say. So the other camera my face filled most of the frame. So it wasn't quite so wide in a fishbowl setup. So that meant that the previous camera would expose more for me versus the entire scene. I do like the little handheld mount thing. It has a little tiny mirror built into it, so I can actually see supposedly what the camera sees based on looking at that little mirror. So that's kind of cool. I'm getting out of work early, so it is 3:30 now. I am sitting in some dirt nasty traffic, and it was a good day today. So I had a random phone call meeting, and it looks like next week's going to be a kind of a bitch before I'm gone on vacation. So we got a couple of smaller projects that we need to kind of get caught up on and all that. But I'm going to be gone, so if we don't have cabling and all that type of stuff, we're going to have to figure out a solution or a way to do it and stuff. So been watching this TV series. I think I mentioned it before, but it's called 13 Reasons Why. It's on Netflix, and it's kind of like a suicide prevention or suicide awareness type of program, where it gets you thinking about how you treat others, how others treat you, the impact of your actions on others or non-actions, and all that kind of stuff. And this show's kind of really getting me fucked up, man. It's like, you know, making me realize, you know, kind of reliving high school. So it's based in high school. They're kind of talking about all like the peer pressure and society pressure and social norms and all that for high schoolers. And you know, it's making me remember a lot of those times back when I went to high school. So I wasn't really bullied or anything like that necessarily, but I had friends that were. And you know, that, you know, I still have some friends that I hung out with in high school that, you know, I really enjoyed high school. I really had a great time with high school. Yeah, there was all the shit, all the bullshit and stuff, but, you know, I still have friends that tell me to this day, they say, you know, they didn't enjoy high school at all. They said it was horrible. They said it was the worst time in their life, and they were bullied or pestered or whatever. And I'm surprised to hear them say that. You know, it's just... So I don't know. Like, watching some of these TV shows, I get anxiety. I get a little bit depressed. But these are things that I want to be aware of. I want to know about, especially with, like, Grant. You know, Grant's going into school now, and I'm realizing that, you know, there's a lot to school and all that stuff. So, like, something that I did today was I mocked up in Photoshop a Let's Keep in Touch graphic. So what it is it's a picture of Grant, and it said, let's keep in touch. Here's my contact information so we can keep in touch over the summer. And then I put, you know, I said Grant, I put Grant's name on there, and I said, you know, let's schedule a play date or something. And I wrote, you know, Grant's dad's name is Bob, and, you know, I put my cell phone number and my email address, and I'm going to print out a bunch of copies of them. So next week, probably on Tuesday, I'm going to have Grant bring all of these to his school and hand them out to all the other kids. And then the other kids should be able to bring it home, give it to their parents, and then their parents can reach out to me if they'd like to, you know, get the kids together and hang out and stuff. What I'm finding out is, you know, these kids are good friends. You know, they spend a lot of time together, they hang out, and then summer comes and the schools, like, can't really give out information and all that type of stuff. So because of that, the kids lose contact and all that. So it would be nice to have a way to, you know, maybe keep in touch. And I'm not expecting every single freaking kid to reach out to me or parent, I guess. But if we get a few, and we can maybe make something happen. So that's it's just one of my thoughts that I had, and something that you know, this show and just various different things are getting me thinking about. You know, we don't really have neighbors in the neighborhood that are close, that Grant can just go over and hang out with and play with. You know, his mom has that. I know Rochelle does that a ton with Logan. All the neighborhood kids are friends. The neighbors across the street from her are in the same class as Logan, her son. And we just simply don't have that. So I'm going to have to work harder. I'm going to have to work harder for Grant. So if this works out well for his classmates, I'll probably get more of those little things printed, and I'll have them give them out at daycare over the summer, because I know, like, Grant really wants to you know, invite certain kids to his birthday party and various things. And for instance, there was a kid at daycare. Well, Grant was in school right around his birthday time, and I had no way of getting hold of that kid in daycare. So I'm hoping that Grant could, you know, tell these specific kids, like, hey, you know, bring this to your parents, have your parents contact my dad, I'd like to hang out with you. And then, you know, if it's a kid that Grant likes to hang out with and vice versa, then we can get something going, you know. At least, if anything, I'm hoping that I can build, like, a little bit of a collection of names and numbers and shit like that. And, you know, then it's just something that an idea that I've had. So I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to be sustainable. But it's basically networking in the modern era, you know. So these kids don't have cell phones. They don't have, you know, how are we going to, you know, do that? Let's see here. Oh, look at that. It just cut the clip. It just cut the clip on its own. So we're still recording. It did make a beep, so I knew that it cut it. And we're going to see, like, if it, I'm curious if it cut off my sentence or something, but very nice, very nice. I'm happy about that. So that means we've already burned up 4 gigs of video. Wow. this newest hard drive that I got is gonna get filled up quick if I'm shooting in 4K. But so that's it, guys. I'm headed home. I was gonna stop maybe at my storage locker and pick up some more bins worth of stuff. I'm getting burned out, so I'm just fucking done with it. I'm tired, all that shit. So I'm gonna have to. I think I'm not gonna stop. With my uncle passing away, I don't know if my parents are gonna be coming back soon or whatever. So I need to kind of work on clearing up what I have at the house versus adding more to it. But so yeah, So the plan is we're gonna go see Deadpool 2 tonight at like 7, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna try to get to Luke's house by like 7:30. So we're gonna work at that client, and then if that goes well, hoping maybe we can make a trip to the range afterwards or whatever. It's just it's gonna be a busy weekend. So I'm looking to try to help Luke out, maybe make some cash on the side. He mentioned help paying me for helping him and stuff like that. But if I can do a good job and like, you know, if it's a relatively tough job and all that, and I can do a good job helping him, then maybe he'll invite me back for more work or whatever in the future. That's the idea. And maybe this could lead to something. I'm not sure, but Luke's been talking about it. He's making some really, really good money doing this, and if he could take on more clients and stuff like that, I can learn some of the basics and help him out, or I can be like his cabling guy or whatever's needed. You know, I can run all this stuff, and he can either punch it down or whatever. But we're gonna kind of see how this works. But I'm just tired, guys. I don't know why. I really don't. I think like this keto thing is all fucked up. I've had a little bit of carbs this week. That's jacking me. And this week I've been taking the Amazon ketones, which are just a bag of shit compared to the more expensive ones. So I don't know if I'm actually in ketosis or not. I don't feel like the same. Like I'm in the same state as I was last week, that's for sure. Last week I knew I was in ketosis. This week I just feel like meh. But so that's kind of all that's going on. I'm still running this camera through its paces. I have a bunch of shit that I need to order sometime over the weekend, so that way it arrives next week. But I'm gonna order extra batteries for this camera. I do like this camera for the you know, like the wide angle effect and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to keep this camera. I'm not completely sold on the 4K. Like I said, once I do 1080, I think you can do up to 60 frames a second. If I do it to 720, it can do, I want to say 120 frames a second. And then if I put it into like 480 mode, it should be able to do like 240 frames a second. So I really don't foresee myself using that feature, but it does also have time lapse. And I guess it does like stills every so often, and then it'll combine them all into a movie or a video or something like that. So, and I do think I can do 4K for that. I just need to kind of test it out and all that stuff. So maybe I'll do some of that at the lake. Maybe if I got some free time, I'll go over by the marina or something and set up my tripod and shoot a, you know, like a time lapse or something. Or maybe one of these days we have some nice clouds that are moving through the sky and stuff, and just kind of see what it's capable of. And I guess right now I'm currently limited to the capabilities of having just one battery, but the camera does have the ability to swap out the batteries and stuff. So I should be able to, you know, swap them out in the field or whatever, and at least have like 3 of them or whatever charged up at any time. So if I get another 2 more. I haven't even used the Wi-Fi feature. That's something I'll try to play with maybe this weekend. I did download, Olympus has 2 different apps. One is OL or OI Tracker and OI Share or something. So one is for like downloading and viewing pictures and videos off the camera to my phone. The other one is for viewing and playing with the log tracking feature. So I did turn that off. All of that stuff is just using batteries for right now. So, you know, the logs, the Wi-Fi, the GPS, well, the GPS is the logs, all that sort of stuff. So I did disable that, and the Wi-Fi I haven't even tried yet, but I'm going to keep testing it out, especially before we go on vacation, and kind of see what I like, what I don't like. But I really do need to look at, inspect, and render the final video, just to make sure that 4K is decent. Otherwise, I'm just going to drop it down to 1080 and call it a day in terms of that. So that's it, guys. I think we're going to call it for now, and maybe I'll have a chance to check in with you guys later. But that's it. Stay tuned for more. Alright, guys, so I'm just going to do a quick recap of the night. It looks like we are recording here. Deadpool 2 was pretty good. It wasn't bad at all. It was really funny. Definitely some very, very adult humor. They were very heavy on, like, referencing other movies by their titles and stuff with, like, movie puns. I can't remember if that was a thing in the other Deadpool or not. Probably was, but I definitely didn't notice it as much or as hardcore. You know, I'm working on all this stuff with this relationship and all that, and you know, it's Friday evening or night, and then of course her ex-boyfriend texts her and says something like, "Oh, hey, I got my new phone, this is my new phone number, blah blah blah." So then they start like messaging back and forth. So I'm like sitting out on a date with Rochelle, and she's like text messaging like one of her ex-boyfriends. So I'm just like, wow, this is dank, and this is like the night before I leave for a few days. So I'm just like, oh, great, that's awesome. So I've talked about this maybe at least a couple times in the last week or two, and for the record, she tells me and told me nothing would ever happen between the two of them again. She's officially done with him, this and that. They're friends. She's been working now, or as of late, helping him through his divorce and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, fuck my life. You know, I'm trying to be a good guy, a good man, trying to respect her privacy and space and all that, but you know damn well if I was talking to my exes and stuff that it wouldn't really go well. So that's just kind of like my concern, and I'm just tired of it all. So it was a good night. It's just, you know, kind of like seeing and dealing with that firsthand, and I'm just like, wow, that's great. So I'm like, huh, you know, now how convenient is that like, you know, probably Sunday or Monday she's gonna be like, hey, I don't have anything going on, you wanna, you know, hang out or something? We're gonna see and find out. If that happens, then I don't know. But I mean, I respect that they're friends. I do understand that, because I mean, to be honest, that's what Rochelle and I were. And Rochelle and I never done anything for a long ass time. And as weird as it sounds, I do trust her. So, and you know, my concern is more internal. You know, it just feels like, you know, way too familiar. You know what I mean? Like, this is the situation that I went through with my ex and ex best friend and all that. So I'm just like, but I feel good though. I feel good about this this weekend, going into this weekend. Definitely better than I did like 2 weeks ago, when I kind of like asked her if she wanted to come with and she said no. I was kind of like, wow. But we're gonna take it slow, and we're gonna see. You know, I can't push her, I can't pressure her, because that'll just push her away. And so yeah, this will be kind of like my first weekend completely away, just doing my own thing and kind of extending that trust to her. So I definitely have a lot of anxiety, a little bit of depression, and I'm just trying to let things happen or let things unfold naturally versus forcing stuff or pushing things. So, a little more intimate tonight than I wanted to get, but these are the things that kind of bother me, you know. I mean, I can't control everything, and yeah, I'm just tired, guys. So yeah, the decision was not to spend the night at her place because I do have to get up early. So I'm gonna probably get up or like somewhere around 6:30, and then shower and then head over by Luke's. And it's after 10 now. It's like 10:15 or so. So I'm gonna probably not stay up for much longer. Maybe get some stuff loaded up in the car and all that for tomorrow, and that way I'll be ready to go in the morning, because morning's gonna come really quick. But as you guys can see, I am trying to test out all different lighting conditions. These are all the same conditions that I shoot with my other camera, and just kind of see what we're dealing with here. But I'm tired, guys. I'm exhausted. And that movie was good. I almost lost my flashlight. My flashlight fell out of my pocket in the movie seat during the movie. So when we went to go to leave, I was like, fuck, I found it. And because it took me like a couple minutes to find the flashlight in the seat, we ended up catching like the end extra little piece at the end of the movie. So you guys won't see this movie for over a year. Or this video, I should say. But if you do get a chance to check out the Deadpool movie series, highly recommend it. Deadpool 2 and 1, they're not really children's movies, kids' movies. Definitely not like any of the other Marvel and those sorts of movies. So very adult humor, very graphic. And don't bring your kids to it. So that's it, guys. Good night. And I'll see you fresh, bright, and early in the morning. Booyah!